Alrighty, so this is going to be my deck profile for my Invoked deck that I got top 32 with at the Seattle Regionals on the 2nd of December. Um, I got 23rd place in total. I believe there was 220 people, 8 rounds. Um, I won 6 rounds and I lost 2 rounds. But yeah, we'll just jump right in. So first of all, the main deck, naturally we have 3 Alistair. The Invoked package is 3 Alistair, 3 Meltdown, Terraforming, and that's for the, so basically we have 7 copies of Alistair. I also played 3 Super Poly and 2 Invocation. I feel like this is pretty much the only thing I would change about this is terraforming. There was a lot of times where I opened terraforming and like multiple copies of Meltdown, and it just kind of made some awkward hands. When it was a slower game, or I had I was able to kind of control the pace of the game, or at least I won the die roll and they didn't have an ash or a droll. Usually it was okay because it let me kind of just out resource my opponent. In more simplified or slower games, but against the bigger combo decks like Vanadium, I played against 3 different Vanadium decks. Definitely not as ideal. I am still considering, because I run Fenrir, I am considering getting a copy of the Kashtira Field spell, in which case I would leave the Terraforming in, because then I would have another target to search. Just to kind of make it a little more versatile. But otherwise, I think with the current build, terraforming was kind of underwhelming most of the time. But yeah, that's the sort of invoked package. For hand traps, we played 12 hand traps in total, 3 Ash, 3 Veiler, 3 Droll, and 3 Imperm. I didn't really have any complaints about these. Droll, when I saw it, it was usually pretty good. Like most of these, assuming I saw them, they were fantastic, honestly. Um, yeah, no. I think I cited Droll out once against Dinomorphia, because like they don't really search. He was maining like anti-spell fragrance, so I don't think he was even on like Fossil Dig. So I made a read that Droll would not be good against him, and that match was a pretty solid 2-0. There was a couple close calls. The anti-spells kind of slowed me down a little bit, but not like badly. Like I was still able to play the game. So yeah, I think hand trap lineup was perfectly fine. I did consider Nibiru, but Nibiru conflicts with Fenrir, and drawing it for turn is like the worst feeling. Like Nibiru is just kind of a weird card to me. Like I get why it's good. Sometimes I do like it in certain decks, but other decks I just don't. Like this, I don't think it's that good. Oddly enough, we did play the triple Fenrir. Fenrir was probably one of the best cards. I don't think that's surprising to anyone. Just because, like, obviously Fenrir is a very good card right now. Yeah, no, Fenrir was solid. Like, anytime I actually got to stick Fenrir onto the board, he performed very well. So, definitely a good card. I got 2 Book of Eclipse. This I kind of wish I had kept as Triple Tactics, Talent, and Thrust. Because the few times I saw Book of Eclipse, they just didn't do anything, unfortunately. I discarded them for Mechaba more than anything else. Like, on paper, it seems really good, but in this deck, at least, it just didn't seem like it performed all that well. So I would definitely think I think in the current format, at least, I would change it. Maybe the Fire King deck is big enough that it isn't worth, like, it stays good, but I don't know for certain. The last 2 spells is going to be Called By and Instant Fusion. Yeah, both of these, when I saw them, they were actually pretty good. like 90% of the time I saw them. Instant Fusion, I have a lot of targets for, but mainly it's Thousand Eyes. Um, there was a bit of a sequencing issue I had one game against Vanadium where I probably could have ended the game a lot quicker had I played Instant Fusion first instead of Super Poly. Um, yeah, that's just kind of how it goes. That it was a learning experience. The last 9 cards are traps, because this build is designed to go first. So we got 3 Ice Dragon's Prison, 3 Summon Limit, and 3 There Can Be Only One. Ice Dragon's Prison performed incredible. Like, Ice Dragon's Prison was definitely the MVP of the tournament for me. So many times I was able to either steal a monster they were trying to summon back, like with Scareclaw Arrival in Vanadium, or against Dynamorphia, I took their Kentragina and then banished both it and the Rexstrom they had, and that basically just ended their game. Like, Ice Dragon's Prison is so freaking good. Summon Limit also performed very well. Like, just keeping the pace of the game down and, like, backing it up with a Mechaba or, like, Ice Dragon's Prison, Super Poly, any of that. No, it's so good. There Can Be Only One, actually, I cited it out a lot. I made a call based on, like, Rescue Ace and, like, Tier Element, but I didn't actually play against either of those. So, like, maybe There Can Be Only One's actually really good, but I don't know if going forward I would want to main deck it. I think it would probably be better as a side deck option. Mostly just because it's a lot more matchup dependent than I thought it would be. So yeah, definitely think it could have been something else. But it was an easy side out, if nothing else. I usually sided out both the continuous spells if I was going second, just because like, they're not going to stop the combo. Meanwhile, Ice Dragon's Prison, even going second, assuming I don't just auto lose to, like, a full board with, like, multiple negates, then Ice Dragon's Prison can help break the board. So that definitely seemed like a good call, and I'm glad that I ran it. For the extra deck, we are playing 12 fusion monsters. So first is Thousand Eyes Restrict. We also have Mud Dragon and Invoked Raijin. These are all instant fusion targets, but also Mud Dragon and Raijin are super poly targets, and Raijin I can also actually make with Droll, or even Baron, with Invocation or super poly. So basically, I wanted my deck to be as flexible as possible with both Invocation and Super Poly, so that's kind of why it's 12 fusion monsters. We also have Garura, we have Earth Golem Adagnister. I'll go over why him specifically in a minute. We had 2 Purgatrio. I figured Rescue Ace would be kind of popular, so having the second Purgatrio, both for Super Poly and for Invocation, because I confuse with their stuff in Grave too. On top of the fact that going second, Purgatrio can potentially just OTK on a full board. If they have no actual negates, it's just big bodies, Purgatrio gets massive very quickly, especially if I have more than one Alistair. There were several times where my opponent had, like, a couple defense monsters, and he just hit over everything, and either just OTK'd them, or put them low enough that they actually just could not come back from it, because he also just clears all of their monsters. He's basically a Raigeki, which, he was kind of a last-minute addition, too, to put him to 2, so I'm definitely glad I did. It did come up multiple times. Purgatrio at 2 actually is really good. We've got Invoked Ogoyes. It's any fusion plus Alistair. Basically, because we have this, I don't need to run Dragos Stapelia, since they are functionally the same material, because Alistair is a dark. Because it's a dark and a fusion, effectively. But I can make this Invocation using, like, my opponent's Astrolabe Engrave against, like, Vanadium. He was really good. He came up a few times, and he actually, the one time Book of Eclipse actually did come up, I flipped down their Baron, and then I summoned a Goides, and I just popped the Baron. That was kind of fun. Guilty Geoffrey, the Magical Steel Knight, he came up one time. I fused away my Little Knight and their Baron, and that basically just ended the game. But that was after like several turns of just back and forth. Um, we have double Mechaba. Mechaba is like the bread and butter of this deck, so there's no reason not to play two. He's like the thing I end on every single game. And then the last fusion is Dragon Knight Draco Beast. I actually summoned him a couple times, and yeah, no, he's really good. I had a bit of a sequencing issue once. I super polyed their Baron and Despater, but because I didn't play the instant fusion first, they just banished him with Little Knight, and unfortunately, I didn't get to do the full combo like I wanted. I was like, I got kind of tunnel vision. That was like, I think that was round 3. It was 2 or 3. I just got kind of excited, and I just let it get away from me basically. So that's just kind of, that's a skill issue basically. The last 3 cards is Almirage and Artemis, because I can make Alistair into both of these, and it lets me make either Purgatrio or Mechaba. But also Almirage, because he's a Cybers monster. I was running Violet Chimera, but I decided to go with Earth Golem Adagnister instead, because Earth Golem's material is any Cybers and any Link. So potentially, if like Link Karibo is out, I can use my opponent's Link Karibo and then another Link monster. But also I can just like make Almirage because he's a Cybers and then fuse with any Link monster. And then I can play the Invocation. So it's just kind of an extra little bit of utility. And also the attack gain was more reliable compared to Violet Chimera, because Violet Chimera would only gain the attack for a single turn, while Earth Golem steals the attack of whatever special monster he attacks every time. So he just felt like a safer bet. I think I made it once. Yeah, I think I made it one time. It's, again, I wanted Super Poly to be as flexible as possible. And then naturally the last card is Little Knight. Little Knight was second to Mechaba. Little Knight was the thing I made most. Like Artemis and Mechaba have the same like summon usage essentially, because the first one is always going to be summoned off of Artemis like 99% of the time. But Little Knight definitely a good card. You know, I don't think that's a surprising thing either. Like Little Knight and Fenrir are like the 2 most generic like powerful cards right now for the side deck. I originally was citing DD Crow, but these guys actually put in a lot more work. A lot of matchups that I cited these in, anytime I actually saw them, they were fantastic. I don't think I actually summoned Magnum at once, which kind of sucked. Or no, I summoned him one time, but he's a one-of, so like actually drawing it after citing it's not likely, unfortunately. Maybe with like triple attack being able to draw me some more cards, I could see it more, but yeah, no, I would not like change these. I think these were fantastic. Druid Swarm being able to send anything was also really good because of I played against I think it was round 3. I played against Bestial, Horus, Resonator, Orchest, and basically their entire play hinged on Dingirsu. So I just summoned Druisworm and then linked into Little Knight and banished, or I sent the Dingirsu because he couldn't protect because it doesn't destroy, and then he brought it back with Skeleton, and then I Ice Dragon's Prison brought back Galatea and banished both of them, and that was pretty much the game. So yeah, Bestial's very good. Lightning Storm, I don't think I actually saw this. I cited it a few times, but I don't think I actually drew it. But I also don't think I would take it out, because like just being able to clear back row is just really good. Xyz Encore and D-Barrier. These were mostly for Pearly, because I don't know why, but I really struggle against Pearly. I played against one Pearly, and he got a clean 2-0 against me. Like, I just could not do anything. Even going first game 2, and I cited these in, and I opened Barrier Double Encore, it did not matter. Uh, so like I don't know, man. That deck is just so hard to fucking play around. Yeah, and then the last three cards are evenly matched. Uh, do I need to explain evenly? Evenly is I I resolved it a couple times. But evenly kind of underperformed. I feel like I definitely I don't think I would have missed evenly. Xyz Encore definitely probably could have been something else a little more useful. Like even just kaiju's, I think would have been better. Um, like that's something I definitely struggled with was just like fitting everything and like balancing everything out. Because I wanted I tried to have the deck be as many individually good cards as possible because previous builds that I'd have, um, a lot of the time I would just end up with like turns where what is it? It's like I would have a bunch of cards that are only good if I can resolve other card effects. And that's I don't think that's good right now. That's why I'm not playing the Mech Knights because the Mech Knights need the opponent to have cards out in order to be able to summon and get value off of them, off of like Blue Sky. Um, and then if you don't like, if you go first and you just open a handful of Mech Knight cards, they are useless. They do nothing for you. Um, I didn't like Dingirsu either because it conflicts with my normal summon for Alistair. And even if I don't see any invoked cards, it's purely Mech Knight for that hand. Dingirsu, if he gets negated, you still have nothing. So it's just there's no winning with that kind of like setup. So I this definitely worked a lot better. My goal for this event for the event was to at least get top 32, and I did. I would have loved to have get top 16 or top 8, but 23rd place, that's still way better than anything I've ever done before, with a deck that I actually really like, and I put a lot of time and effort into this. As you probably, if you've seen the other videos, I've done a lot of deck profiles on this. Um, so yeah, thank y'all for watching. I'll probably post an updated deck list at some point over the next week or two, if I actually feel it's worth sharing anyway. But yeah, until then, make sure to like and subscribe and all that, and I'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.